Dick's Sporting Goods reports earnings today. Last October, the retailer destroyed $5 million worth of guns it pulled from stores. The stock has struggled during the past few weeks as the company is relying more on selling items made by Nike. Emergency physician Dr. Eric Fleegler is standing by with analysis on a study. Bring us up to date on firearms and your mission.
Sure. So every year, nearly 40,000 people die from firearms in the United States. And among children ages 0 to 14, over 500 children are dying every single year by guns. And so the question is, how do we reduce these numbers? And so what we did was a study looking at a specific set of laws known as child access prevention laws. These are laws that basically say how a gun is stored matters. So when you look across the whole United States, it turns out that there are 25 states with no laws whatsoever. There are 9 states with which are called recklessness laws. The recklessness laws say if I, the gun owner, hand my gun to a child and they hurt somebody, I could be held responsible. But then there are 16 states which have what are called negligence laws. And the negligence law really speaks to how that gun is stored. And it says if a child gets access to my gun and hurts somebody, or they just get access to it and say, bring it to school, or even if they could get access to it, not even if they get it, but if they could get access to it, then I could be held responsible. And so what we did in our studies, we said, well, what's the difference between these types of laws in these states? And it turns out when you look at the recklessness laws, the same type of fatality rates occurred relative to states with no laws. But when you look at the negligence laws, 13% fewer children are dying in those states.
Gun advocates say it's all about storage and education so that bad things don't happen. What do you think about that?
So I think education and being aware of the dangerous potential of having a firearm in the household is really, really important. However, here's what you need to realize. There are 22 million children in the United States who live in a household with a gun. And there are 4.6 million children, 7% of all children in the United States, who live in a household where that gun is stored loaded and unlocked, by far the most dangerous way to store a gun. And so it's one thing to say you want to have a gun and you want to have it for the safety of your home or you want to use it for hunting. That's totally fine. But it is not correct to store that gun in such a manner that young children can get access to it and either hurt themselves or hurt somebody else. And so storing a gun is fine, but giving it education, say, oh, just teach your children, as the NRA says, if you see a gun, don't touch it, leave the room and tell an adult. It simply doesn't work. We know that there are 13,697 young children who died during the 25 years of our study. Had states passed the laws that were the most stringent, about 29% of them wouldn't have died, which is nearly 4,000 children.
As you know, gun sales have been limited as corporations including Dick's and Walmart make changes. Is this having an effect?
It turns out that the sale of firearms in the United States has been increasing year after year after year. We don't know the precise number, but it's estimated there's over 350 million guns in the United States. So it's absolutely important to think about how guns are sold and how they're regulated. But if we want to keep children safe, we also need to address the fact of how they're stored once they're in the house itself. When there are 25 states that have no laws and 9 states that have laws that really don't make a difference in terms of preventing children from dying, that's a lot of room for improvement. When we're talking about 500 children dying every single year from guns, these are children who don't own those guns. They never needed to have access to it. And so we need to take this seriously. The purpose of doing this research is to give lawmakers the actual data so they know that these laws make a difference. There are lots and lots of laws out there that people never get the opportunity to study. That's what we wanted to do, is to say, do these laws make a difference? If you want to protect the children in your state and you want to take this seriously, the most important law to pass are the ones that are the negligence laws. And ideally you pass the ones that say, if you have a gun in your house, you must store it safely. You must store it unloaded, you must store it locked, and you must keep the ammunition safe. You need to make sure that the people who own the guns know that these laws are there, and they need to be serious laws. So this study is freely available at JAMA Pediatrics, but if you'd like to also know what are the state laws in your state, you can go to statefirearmlaws.org. It's a wonderful free database that has every single firearm law in the United States, and you can see how those laws have evolved over the past 26 years.
Well, thank you so much, Doctor, for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me.
For more Business First AM, check us out on social media. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.